topic was in-home. So with in-home, I like to keep it very structured. So it's all about just, trying to, establish credibility. So when I go into the house, I have, all my stuff. I have like a binder that I use, a little portfolio binder with carrier credibility sheet, the lead, depending, whatever leads you're working, if it's mortgage, internet, whatever, but I'll have the lead. Sit down with them if I can establish, any natural rapport, I will. Like if they have dogs, I'll show them pictures of my dogs, stuff like that. Anything natural. If they're like sports fans, stuff like that. But I'm not going to force anything, and just have forced conversations if I, can't really establish like a nice connection. And then I'll just go right into, why I'm there, what I do. So I like to tell them, I work with Family First Life. I run my own agency with them. We are a broker, so we work with all the top insurance companies, and I point to the carrier credibility sheet. And I'm like, so we do that so we can help clients shop around to find the best plans. We do mortgage protection. We do also to all types of life insurance, do some save money, retirement, income planning. My job today is just to run through some questions with you just to better understand your situation. And then I go into the why. So if it's a mortgage protection lead, I'm trying to figure out what's going to happen when they die with the house. So, I'm assuming you send in this form to make sure that if you were to pass away, Mary's going to be able to stay in the home, or if you get sick and you can't work, or if they're single, trying to figure out who's responsible for the mortgage when they pass away. So if it's like a daughter, and then drilling in and asking a lot of questions on that layer by layer to figure out the reason as to why you're there. Because if you just get something on the surface, oh, I just want the coverage to pay the house off. It's like, but you want to get more. You want to, figure out really what's going to happen, because that's where the insurance is sold. That's where you're going to help the most people. It's getting that emotion out. I know when I've had problems in the past where I've missed sales, I really can go back and point it out to the whys which is why I rushed it. And, it still happens. Sometimes you just get in the zone, you're helping everybody, and then you rush one and you miss it. But really just sit there. And then, I get a good why out, and then I go, okay, guys, I just got to run through this suitability questionnaire with you. And I point to the financial inventory worksheet. And I do this the same as if I'm doing in-home and virtual. And I just go, I just got to run through this suitability worksheet with you, just some basic questions about the mortgage, health, and finances. Based off those answers, I'm going to be able to, design some plans for you. My main goal is to help you design something that fits your budget. Does that make sense? And then I go right into the financial inventory. And as far as like the why goes, for if you're working internet leads or final expense, just tailor the question to like what you're there to accomplish. If they're just looking for life insurance, so I'm assuming you're looking for some life insurance, right? Or you're looking for, I'm pigging back to the why there. So I'm assuming you're looking for because you don't have anything, or what you have is something that's about to expire, or you don't have enough. Same thing with final expense. That's how I do those. But mortgage, I'm asking more questions about the mortgage. But then I go, same thing, go into that worksheet. If they are married, I get their income out. Well, I get their income out either way. But when they're married, you can really get more emotion out and ask a lot more questions from really digging into their income. So say Bob makes $7,000 a month, Mary makes 2. All right, Bob, you die tomorrow, and then I cross him out. So I like kill him in the home. Okay, you're not here. Mary, you got $2,000. His $7,000's gone. That's $85,000, $84,000 a year. You got $2,000. You got a $1,500 mortgage. Help me understand. Well, what are you going to do next? Where are you going to go? What's going to happen? Well, we got some life insurance. Okay, and then I'm like, well, how much life insurance do you have? I go through that in the inventory. Say if they only got $150,000. Okay, you got $150,000 of coverage, and he makes $85,000 a year. You got 3 kids, and you got a $300,000 mortgage. You got basically less than 2 years of his income. Like, what are you going to do without having this extra protection in place? And really just sitting there, because it brings it full frontal to them, and it hits them, and they're like, oh, well, yeah, I wouldn't be able to stay here, especially if they're younger, have kids, etc. So I found that really spending time on the income, especially when they're married, you can really get a lot of the emotion out, as well as, same thing as if they're single and, they're looking for final expenses, or if they're looking for mortgage, just figuring out who the beneficiary is going to be and what their financial situation is. Okay, so your daughter, you're here in California and your daughter's in New York. Is she going to be afford to come out here and bury you? You know, are you want to be buried in New York? You know, figuring out like what's going to happen. Because if they want their body, I was speaking with somebody the other day. He wants his body to be transferred to like a different country. I'm like, damn, dude, that's going to cost a lot of money. So it's like figuring out what's going to happen. There's a lot of little questions that you can ask to build more value into the premium. So just asking a ton of questions, figuring out what's going to happen, and then just going through continuing to go through the worksheet, really hone in on their medicals, especially, I know like when I first started, I did have trouble with getting people declined because I just thought everybody was healthy, but that's not the case. So I really like to tell them, all right, guys, so these plans are non-medical. You don't have to go through any blood or urine. A nurse doesn't have to come out, but they do see everything. What you sign is you sign a HIPAA form. It's kind of like the same thing that when you go to the doctor, you have to sign one so that the doctors can release your medicals and they can look at your medical history. Same thing with the insurance companies. They'll be able to see everything. It's called your MIB and your HIPAA. So they're going to be able to see everything, guys. So I need to know all your medications, any health history, and I hammer through the health questions. Cancer, strokes, heart attacks, COPD, diabetes, blood pressure, and I hammer through all that, and then I just start writing them all down. I make them get me their medicines, a list of medicines, especially if they're older. I'm like, just go grab me a list of your medications because they'll have a list. So then you can just look at it, figuring out what's up. I use the grids all the time, and I've been doing this for 10 years. I still like to double check myself to make sure I'm putting in the best plan, and my placement and persistency is really good, but I make sure I take the time to figure out where I can best place them, and it ends up working out. I can give them the best recommendation. I don't get a ton of declines. So use the grids, have the tools. Sorry, my dog's barking. Sorry about that. All right, so the grids have all the tools, underwriting guides. The Family First Life Next Level app is really helpful. On that app, you have the carriers. You can pull up their quoters. You can pull up their underwriting guides. So I have that on my phone. I send that to a lot of new agents to use. I have all the quoters, saved to like my home screen. So it's like, even if it's America's quote.america.com. So I just saved it to my home screen. So it's like an app. So I have everything all under one little tab on my phone. So I can pull everything up on my cell phone, quote everything easily. So I have all the tools. I have all the inventory sheets, printed out, and whatnot. So those are the tools I use when in the home. I don't really go in home much anymore since I moved to LA because driving around here is crazy. I am going in home next weekend though, so I'm looking forward to it. So because I got some leads finally coming in out here. So that's what I do for in-home. It's just all about structure. And also so after you figure out what they qualify for, their health, you want to make sure you go through their life insurance. Everything's on the inventory sheet. And I've been doing this forever. I still use the inventory sheets. It's professional. It shows professionalism. Like I know the questions on it. I could do it without it. But it shows professionalism, especially when you're in the home. You don't miss things, and then you can run through it. Make sure you get their health, use the grids. If you have questions, call, and ask for help. Make sure you're placing them in the best spot possible. And then, so as far as like the close goes, I'm like, all right, guys, that makes, I can see, why you're looking for the coverage or whatever. But I'm like, all right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to run through some plans with you. I'm going to explain everything to you, all the ins and outs of how these plans work. I'm going to run through that with you. I'm going to run through some numbers with you. My main goal is to help, like I said earlier, is to help you design something that fits your budget. That's the most important thing. So I'm going to run through some numbers with you, explain everything to you. You're going to pick the plan out that best fits your budget. And then all we could do today is send in a request for coverage to see if we can get you approved. But like I said before, that's where they look at your health by pulling your RX history, et cetera. And if they do approve you, they just do a bank draft. Does that make sense? And then I just go into what they qualify for. So if they're qualified for cash back, I explain to them all the ins and outs of how the policy. So I'm big on selling value of what the plan's going to do. If it's an IUL, I explain that to them while showing the illustration. If it's a cash back, I show them how much money they're going to get back, all the living benefits. You want to get good because that's where your premiums can get higher. So just sell the value of what the plan does. I mean, that's why like when I say I sell IULs or cash back, my policies are like, $300 a month because I'm good at selling the value of them. So if you get good at that, your premiums will skyrocket. Whereas before I used to just show people, here's $100,000 for $50 a month. that was back in the day, and I would get small premiums. But when you really take the time to explain to them what it is, it shows the level of professionalism that you know your craft. So I feel like that's why my premiums have gotten way bigger over time. So that'll help you a lot. So just know the policies, etc. Especially if you get good at explaining payment protection for what it's going to do. It's going to protect the equity and all that. And I'm not going to go into that now because there's some trainings from Wetmore and other people out there that are a lot better than I can explain it here. And I'm just doing, quick in-home. And that's pretty much it for my in-home. I like to do it the same. I pretty much do the same exact thing in virtual as well. I'm big on trying just to keep it simple. So with virtual, I when I book appointments, I either try to do it for the same day or the day after. And then I'm really big on sending them a copy of my license and my a business card with a picture of myself, my national producer number, so they get my credentials. And then just pretty much doing it the same way, like spending time, really establishing credibility in the beginning in virtual versus in home. And in home is definitely way easier. If you're brand new, I would recommend doing in home because virtuals, it's a lot harder. So, but yeah, so that's I think that's my time with that. And we got just a couple of people. Let's open it up for some questions.
Hey, Josh. I know one thing that you do really, really well is you sell yourself, if you will.
Oh, yeah.
And that prevents, if somebody walks into an appointment behind you with something that's $5-10 cheaper, they're probably not replacing it. Can you talk about the how you build value in yourself as their agent in addition to the value of the product?
Awesome. Great question. I forgot to run through that at the end. Yes. So in the beginning, I'll tell them, what I do, establish credibility. Been doing this for 10 years. I run my own agency. So kind of establishing credibility that way. Then build rapport with them throughout the appointment, cut it up with them, laugh with them. But then after I help them out, I explain to them everything we just did again. So I'll explain to them the plan, exactly what it covers, just so they know. Because you could tell someone one thing 5 minutes ago and they already forgot half of it. So I like to explain it to them, write it all out for them. When I was in home, I had the carrier sheets and it had the premium, et cetera, all the stuff. I'd write their policy number because, we're doing e-apps and you get people approved right away. Now I just text it to them with doing virtual or email it to them. But, I'm big on selling myself after I help them. I'm like, any questions, anything at all. They're like, no, we're good. I'm like, okay, guys, so you're going to get your policy within 7 to 10 business days. When you get it, if you have questions, call me and we'll go through everything. Like I told you before in the beginning, I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm going to be your agent from here on out. Whatever you need, question, concerns, you need anytime, call me. I'm your guy. If something happens to you, I'm going to be the one helping your family get the money as fast as possible. Hopefully that's not the case and you're just getting a cash back check at the end of 30 years or whatever. And just telling them that I'm really going to be there for them. I'm going to do a yearly review with you once a year, so we could, answer any questions. I'll do yearly reviews and, basically from here on out, I'm going to be your guy. And then I just started doing this. I'm doing virtual. I'm like, guys, you're going to get other calls about this. After a certain period of time, these leads, we do buy these. They resell them. It's going to go to other agents. It's probably going to be within my company. Just tell them you're good to go. Tell them you're with Josh and you'll be all right. So I kind of just straight up with them because doing things over the phone and stuff. They're going to get called from other FFL agents. I'm not the greatest at going in my CRM marking people sold. So I just started doing that, and I feel like it's worked pretty well. And it's transparent. I'm telling them we do buy leads. It's like whatever. I don't know. I think that's helped. But really selling myself after and taking pictures with them when I was in home. Just really, because I don't spend a ton of rapport in the beginning, but as you go through the appointment and you're talking to them, you really get to know them more. So it's like I was helping a lady yesterday and just threw out the financial inventory and she's talking to me. I'm like, yeah, I just moved here. She's like, and this is just while we're in the financial inventory, cutting it up. And now I have an appointment next week to go write her because it was over the phone, but I'm going to go write her up. She's like, I got $350,000. I'm scared about losing. I'm like, okay, this is going to be a good appointment in LA. So I got to get prepared for that. But it's just getting to know them and having fun. I always like to have fun in a point, just make people laugh. And I'm not like a goofball or anything, but I would make fun of myself, before I had a girlfriend. I'm like, I'm single. I just have 2 dogs. And for some reason that made people laugh. just, yeah, no kids, just 2 dogs, 34. I'm 35 now, but that was before I had a girlfriend. Just things that make them feel comfortable, knowing that you're a real person. I couldn't tell you how many times I've had people just tell me, man, I'm so glad you're not like a salesperson. You're just very easygoing. Like, you're not salesy at all. You just are straight to the point. And I think that's one of the best compliments you can get, is when you're just chill. And at the end of the day, I want to help everybody. But if you don't buy, I know my ability to go out and sell a lot of insurance, so it doesn't really bother me. So be yourself, have fun, buy a lot of leads, go help a lot of families, sit on the phone. Like, I'm gonna have to sit on the phone till probably like 9 o'clock tonight because I'm slow getting going. But I can hop on Zoom later too.
Josh, do you still send like thank you notes and birthday cards and stuff?
Thank you notes. I need to get a better system, because I had Brittany do that all, the past year and a half, and then I moved. So I kind of should just do it myself, just because it'll take 2 seconds. But I haven't been good at that the past couple months. But Brittany would send them out. So I need to just tend to a list of leads who I've helped. But yes, thank you. Basically birthday cards. I know you do, or not birthday cards. Basically just a postcard, thank you card. And if they didn't get approved, I call them right away when they are approved, follow up with them. I want to make sure people, now that I'm doing a lot of the IULs, I tell them, please call me when you get it so I can explain it to you, especially if I'm doing it over the phone and I can't go through the illustration with them on Zoom. On Zoom, I can at least show it to them and explain to them how they works, because you will get calls like, what is this guaranteed column? What the hell is this? Because it guarantees 0. And people freak out. So I want to make sure I can explain that to them. So now that you don't have to do an illustration with them and have them sign it, I'm going to make sure they call me when they get it. Like, I wrote one the other day. I'm like, please call me when you get it so I can explain this to you. So, because people won't know. And I have a good way of explaining it. But yeah, let's rock and roll. All right, y'all. If y'all need anything, holler at me. Talk soon.